The movie is set in a futuristic world where industries and human negligence have rendered the world uninhabitable. At the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to teenager Z Hunter as she breathlessly wakes up from a recurring nightmare in which she dreams of the car accident that killed her mother years prior. In the nightmare, the hunters are driving down the street when they see a creature run past them, which shocks Z's father, Chris, into losing control of the car. The car rolls over, killing her mother, Layla. Z wakes up and tries to shake off the nightmare, but winds up depressed over missing her mother and thinking about how her dad has completely shut down and distanced himself from her, while focusing on his gigantic tech company, Hunter Arena, since the accident. To distract herself, Z spends some time playing video games before calling her close group of friends by the names S, Pete, Fame, and Nikki. The group of friends meets up and spends some time driving around. During the drive, Nikki passionately narrates the latest video she watched about the Slyths, magical creatures believed to possess blood that can heal any human ailment. This is interrupted by news reports that detail the latest state of their world. Elsewhere, a mysterious black-robed man buys vials filled with green liquid from a young man. One night, Z and her friends sneak into the warehouse of Hunter Arena and explore to find the next cool gadget. While they excitedly look around, Nikki finds vials full of green liquid, and as she picks it up to get a better look, they see something jump from the roof. Scared over what they saw, the group runs out of the warehouse and sees a creature running over the walls of the building. They run to their car and Z starts driving after a few miles. A white-robed man with golden eyes steps in front of the car. The group gets out of their car and checks on the man. They are surprised to see that, even though he is unresponsive, he doesn't even have a scratch on him. Feeling responsible, Z takes her victim to her home to keep an eye on him until he regains consciousness. That night, Z has a more vivid and detailed nightmare that she feels is somehow related to the unconscious man in her living room. The next morning, Z anxiously waits for the young man to wake up so that she can ask him questions. The young man wakes up but is of no help as he's a complete amnesiac. Z tries to speak to her victim in many different languages and tries to jog his memory, but comes up empty.
หิวเหรอพูดได้ไหม
Z tries to go back to basics and asks the robbed man his name. The confused young man keeps repeating the word name somehow, hinting that it might be his name, and so Z decides to call him name. Z spends the whole day keeping name company and trying to help him remember who he is so that she can find answers to the many questions she has for him. As Z continues to probe Name to remember, and as Name tries to, he feels a sharp throbbing pain in his head and stops. Z calms Name down, comforts him, and gives him modern outfits that help him fit in with the young crowd of the city. Elsewhere, the mysterious black-robed man goes around town killing people. Chris is informed by his assistant that his new game is ready to be tested. Chris then holds a competition for the general public and offers a food decizer that makes delicious food, an apartment above the smog, filled with fresh air, and a token worth 10 million as a prize for whoever wins both the first stage and the beta testing stage. Z teams up with her friends and forms a group called Z Krita to enter the competition without Chris's knowledge. Z Krita does well and passes to the beta stage. One day Z brings Name with her to meet her friends and hang out. Everyone is cordial with Name except S, who has feelings for Z and is jealous of her new friendship with Name. S challenges Name's amnesia, claiming that Name is probably faking it. Then Pete arranges for E as in Name to hash out their differences in a boxing video game in which they would fight and knock each other out. Name is truly bewildered at what's going on, as he has never even seen the popular game. He then takes part in the challenge anyway, and as he throws a punch, he ends up scoring the highest score, which closes the game down. It's declared that no human has ever been able to score that high, and the crowd applauds Name for his feat, leaving Ez annoyed.
Hey! พวกมึงจะเงียบทำไมวะ
Everyone's impressed by Name's achievement, but is bewildered at his inability to perform daily tasks well. That night at Z's apartment, Name looks at Z's family portrait and tells her that her mother looks familiar, which shocks and intrigues Z. Z begs Name to remember more, but as he tries to, he's struck by the familiar, sharp throbbing pain, which forces him to stop trying. The next day, as Pete and Fame get into their car, the mysterious black-robed man shows up out of nowhere, asks them random questions, and gravely injures Pete. At Hunter Arena, Zkreta is asked to complete one more round of the game before the beta stage, but considers pulling out because they're a man short. Name overhears the group's dilemma and offers to help fill in for Pete. The group allows Name him to, out of desperation, and is impressed by his skills. Z and Name continue getting closer and spending more time together, which annoys Ease as he doesn't understand why Z's still taking care of the fully recovered car accident victim. Z tries to talk to Ez.
ที่กูให้เนมอยู่กับกูเพราะว่า
S is crushed and considers pulling out of the group to spare himself from watching Z and Name interact. Nikki takes S aside and advises him to keep their group together and convinces him to stay. The group pulls itself together and prepares to start the beta test of the game. Z disguises herself and Zkreta appears before Chris to take instruction of the game. Chris provides the group with a vial filled with green liquid, Arkansas devices, and many different equipments that enhances their strength and their ability to hunt Slyths. Chris warns them to never take off the AR devices, stressing that it's the only way they get to feel the world of the game as it's intended. Zkreta stands before the portal and finally makes its way into the game world to find and hunt down all of the Slyths. Zkreta starts the game well, and everyone manages to kill multiple Slyths that come out of their hiding to attack them. Then Fame gets injured fighting off a Slyth, and Chris advises him to inject the green vial. He complies and feels better immediately. On the other side of the game world, Name gets the sharp throbbing pain as he remembers his surroundings and calls it Slytheria. The hunt continues, and after some time, Z gets hurt as she falls from a cliff. Her vial is broken, and Chris, who has now identified Z, freaks out asking his assistant to stop the game. Name sees Z from afar and comes to her rescue. He cuts his hand and supplies her with his green blood, and Z watches in shock as his eyes turn golden, transforms into a white Slyth, and runs away. The rest of the group rushes towards Z to check on her and are horrified to learn that they can see and feel the game world without the AR devices, which implies that the game world is real and not just a simulation. Zkreta leaves Name behind and exits Slytheria. Chris apologizes to Z for neglecting her, and they reconcile their relationship. Z then asks Chris why he tricked her and her friends to go into another world and kill Slyths. Chris explains that it all started when he began working on a project that studies Slyths and the portals that connect Earth and Slytheria. He details that he decided to quit the project once he realized how dangerous it was. But it was too late as Slyths came after him anyway. He had seen a white Slyth, which Z now knows his name killed Layla the night of the accident, and has been wanting to exact revenge on them since. Z is crushed to hear of Name's involvement. Elsewhere, as S and Fame hang out, they are accosted by the mysterious black-robed man. Fame tries to fight back and is shocked to see the man transform into a black Slyth. S and Fame are out of their depth and try to run away from the giant creature. Luckily, a man comes to their rescue, shoots the Slyth, and drives them away. Once safe, the man explains that he's a generation, a group of people that received Slyth blood and work as an intermediate between humans and Slyths. He explains further by telling them that many humans died in a viral outbreak a few decades back, and the Slyths sacrificed themselves to save humans. He details that the mysterious black-robed man is a black Slyth named Ikatar, and that he rebelled against his elders, opposing their selfless act and blaming humans for the death of his kind. Hence, he was sent to live on Earth so that he would appreciate and understand humans better, which didn't really turn out as planned, as Ikatar is still full of hatred and planning the demise of humans. Back in Hunter Arena, Z activates the portal and goes to Slytheria to confront Name about killing Layla. As Name furiously denies the allegation, Name is shot by Charles, who has run after Z into the portal. Charles and his men carry Name and together with Z, exit Slytheria. Chris notifies Ikatar that he has captured a white Slyth. Bolstered by the news, Ikatar goes to the Generation and picks a fight. Back in Hunter Arena, Chris drains Name's blood in hopes of putting it into the preserved remains of Layla, as he believes that the white Slyths are immortal and that their blood has the power to give life to the dead. Chris and Z supervise the procedure, but it doesn't go as they hoped. Ikatar then interrupts them, mocking Chris for being fooled into believing the White Slyth's myth. Ikati tells them that he now has the chance to rule and reset both Earth and Slytheria, as the species of both are likely to wipe each other out, as a result of the massacre inflicted upon Slytheria during the game. Name regains consciousness and details Ikatar's role in Layla's death. Ikatar and Name transform into their Slyth form and intensely fight each other. Z's friends together with Generation come and proceed to help her and Chris out of the building. Chris volunteers to stay back to deactivate the portals, as he's the only one who can do it. Z thanks him for trying to bring back Layla, and the two share an emotional moment. Generation Z and her friends run out of the building right before it explodes. After the explosion, the group searches for and finds Name in the rubble. Just as they get him out, Z is suddenly stabbed by Ikatar, who surprises them. The group gets Z out of the way and Name fights and kills Ikatar. Name gives Z his blood and she heals from her injuries, and the two kiss in celebration. It's reported in the news that the Slyths, together with Generation, have changed the portals into tunnels used to purify the Earth's air. The sun shines bright, and people go outside without masks for the first time in decades.
ต้นไม้สีเขียวๆแบบนี้
And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our recap. Watch our next videos on the screen. And don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you on the next one.